Good afternoon and welcome to the Native News Today. Jason Salzman with Gerald Wofford. As always, we appreciate you joining us this afternoon, and as always, we feel like we've got a very good show lined up for you today.
Yeah, and even if it's not a good show, we'll sure tell you it is.
Well, you know, we feel like it is. We're confident in that.
I know.
Just like OU was confident last week, we're confident.
Hey, you know, actually last week I made the pseudo prediction during the show. I really put myself out there because I was like, turn over to Channel 8, you'll see OU kicking butt right now. And I said that like on Wednesday.
So you were pseudo you.
I guess I was like Nostradamus or something. I could see the future or something like that. Looking into the crystal ball.
Yeah.
Which is similarly what
and the future,
OU will be holding up.
And concerning the future of this show, you can describe for our folks out there the shows, the new segments we're going to have, right?
I can see in the future. We got a segment on the American Indian Chamber of Commerce of Oklahoma, the oldest chamber and the longest tenured of its time in Oklahoma. It's doing the business summit for Indian businesses, and it was at the Clarion Hotel there in Oklahoma City, right next to the airport. We also got the emergency management team at Creek Nation, led by James Nichols. He's the manager there and does a wonderful job. And we always love to highlight James and the things that his office does. And we've certainly done that before with the way that they partner up with Altamahaw County and things like that. And the flooding and everything around here has been just disastrous and been catastrophic. And FEMA has actually offered to have relief aid, so we got to be able to go over and talk to James about some of that stuff. So James visited with that, and it was really good.
So we got a stellar lineup. Also, too, we continue with our documentary on the bow making with Mike Berryhill, producer Jared Moore putting all that together. All this and more as the Native News Today rolls along.
Hello, my name is Ivaline Tatras, manager of the Muskogee Creek Nation Elderly Housing. Here at the Muskogee Creek Nation, we recognize our elders as being a major influence on our culture. That's why we take care of them with fully equipped homes and daily nutrition, and a sense of security. At Muskogee Creek Nation, taking care of our past means we also take care of our future.
Today's world is far different than the one our ancestors knew. But though times have changed, we the Muskogee Creek people remain a strong people. Many of our traditions continue to thrive in today's modern world. For 1,000 years and more we have been here, and we will be here for 1,000 more. Times have changed, but so have we, and the Muskogee Creek people are a part of this time, this country, and this economy.
Jason, the letters FEMA, FEMA. What does that mean? Is that football?
Well, I don't know.
Football, everything?
No.
Media?
That's not it.
Athlete?
No.
Okay.
No. It's Federal Emergency Management Assistance or something like that. I don't know. It may be it. I don't know. If you're out there from FEMA, I'm sorry.
That's it.
Didn't bring. Is it right? Okay, good. Well, that's the organization. They do a lot of things for a lot of people that are in drastic need, and one of the things is flash floods. You know,
like us. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we're around here floating in the water. I made a desk into a boat the other day and floated to the bathroom. Wait a minute, I wouldn't want to go to the bathroom with this place flooded. I mean, there's no telling what's flooding around here.
You were just trying to survive.
Yeah, I was just trying to survive. Anyway, the point is, it's been flooding around here, and everybody's been affected, you know, no matter man, woman, child, old, young, whatever. Everybody's affected by the floodwaters, and homes have been destroyed, homes have been ruined, and offices have been ruined. Television studios. But anyway, James Nichols at Emergency Management for Creek Nation, they do a wonderful job there with taking care of the emergencies that arise, such as the ice storm back in January. And this is just another thing that they were able to cut their teeth on, really, because it's a new department. So James is really doing a good job at getting the word out there about the FEMA giving the disaster relief aid for the flooding. And we got to visit with James just a little bit about what's went on in the last few months.
We were informed Friday that FEMA had declared Disaster 1712, which is the flooding that occurred from June 10th through July the 25th. And we have approximately 8 counties out of our 11 within our jurisdiction that are included in that. That's for public assistance, which would assist Creek Nation with when we used our light horse vehicles to go through the through the flooding times. Also, we had a Holdenville Child Care was damaged because of the flooding in June, and that will be able to help with the cost of that. Also, they've included about 6 or 8 counties for individual assistance, which families will be able to contact FEMA and apply for individual assistance, which could be housing, temporary housing, food, clothing, things that they lost, even employment or unemployment, I guess I should say. So they can contact FEMA and make a application at 1-800-621 FEMA, FEMA, or 3362. 1-800-621-3362. They'll be able to contact them and apply for individual assistance.
Is there a deadline? Do they have to have their claim in by?
Not as of right now. No deadlines as of right now. We are waiting on FEMA to come to Creek Nation and do what they call a kickoff meeting to get this disaster kicked off so that we can start submitting the paperwork just like we did during the January ice storms, where we were able to get back almost $200,000 worth of monies that we expended during the ice storm. And of course, flooding's not going to be as much, but we will be able to assist some of our departments that were out there working during the flooding. We've been experiencing flooding since early June, and throughout all of our counties within Creek Nation jurisdiction, we've responded helping individuals that were trapped by flooding, assisting local agencies blocking roads, doing damage assessments, even took a one Creek Nation employee. We transported her back and forth via boat out west of Okmulgee here so that she could get back and forth to work and get groceries to her children and her family.
All right. Earlier this week, Jason and our producer Jared Moore ventured over to Oklahoma City, where a very important business conference was taking place.
Yeah, the first annual American Indian Business Summit, and it was put on by the American Indian Chamber of Commerce of Oklahoma. And we talked to a couple of fellows that represented that organization. One was Taylor Keene. He's the acting president, and actually got to visit a little bit with the president-elect, who's going to be the next president there, Sam Caruso, and some of those guys around there that have done a wonderful job. I know Gene Big Soldier, representing the Iowa tribe, has been a board member, and it's just a great organization. And basically they just get together and allow these businesses to network with one another and really promote one another, these Native American businesses, and they're becoming more and more in number over the years. And this is just an opportunity for them all to get together, exchange ideas, and learn from new ones as they were able to get a little bit more information on federal contracts.
The American Indian Chamber of Commerce of Oklahoma is the largest Indian chamber in the United States. It has been around for probably somewhere around 30 years. It's been in different forms, and it's had ebbs and flows like any organization. It's grown, it's faltered, it's stood back up, and keeps going on. Ultimately, there are probably approximately 14,000 Indian-owned businesses here in the state of Oklahoma, and our goal is to reach each and every one of those, and to provide for them as many opportunities as possible, just again simply to do more business. American Indian Chamber of Commerce has a long history and pride, I think, with a lot of the Indian communities. We have 5 chapters throughout the state, and we're hoping to add more as time goes on. But ultimately, what we're trying to do with the Indian Chamber is to be a collective voice for those businesses as the economic battle for sovereignty continues. Right now, we try to have a collective voice to speak up for those businesses at the state level and at the federal level as well. This is our first annual Indian Country Business Summit, and it's a partnership between the American Indian Chamber of Commerce of Oklahoma, the Tribal Government Institute, and the Oklahoma Bid Assistance Network. We were approached by the Governmental Institute whose sort of brainchild this was, as a part of their larger mission to educate tribal leaders. With the American Indian Chamber of Commerce, our overall mission is to create venues that help tribal entrepreneurs, tribal corporations do more business, simply. And we felt like a partnership would reach a broader audience between these three organizations. Certainly we wanted to bring as much business on the federal level, on the state level, and on the local level together in a place to educate tribal entrepreneurs and those members of tribal corporations. So we're very, very happy with the content that we had here. We had a great list of speakers, broad-ranging, again, from federal contracting arm to attorneys and specialists that understand the tax exempt status of tribes and multiple opportunities for federal opportunities.
This is the Indian Country Business Summit 2007. It's a first time out business conference. It's a tri-venture with the Oklahoma Bid Assistance Network, Tribal Government Institute, and the American Indian Chamber of Commerce. And the goal was to bring businesses together and give them an entree into federal contracting and try to provide them with a venue of meeting professionals who are qualified in contracting services, and also to meet people who are actually awarding the contracts, like Ms. Bonnie Taylor with Tinker Air Force Base. So it's just a good opportunity for businesses to come together and share ideas and actually meet the folks who are awarding the contracts.
Hey, Gerald, I got a joke for you. Why did the Indian come out onto the field and interrupt the stickball game?
Why did the Indian come out and interrupt the stickball game? Why?
He had to take a TV timeout. What are you going to do? Sorry.
Pete Koster, Chaho Jifkados, Muskogee Idalwa, Nakchoga, Mahaga Sahowijit, Hamata, Madowes, Choga Hikcha, Aiden, Chiajo, Muskogee Idalwa, Nakchoga, Mahaga Sahowijit, Akitla Jaden, Shimaja Niden, Chayajas, Choga Hijalgi, Sulgan, Savachkakidos. Is Idi Bonahoiden, Bowman, Huichgagas, 918-758-1480, Mado Hadam Chihijahlis.
Okay, look, every time we've had this guy on the show, I've sat here and said the same thing in probably 9 different variations. So nobody can say it better than Mike Berryhill. Enjoy.
That's what you call one that's roughed out. There's 2 bows that are gone. Well, this one's finished that I had out the last time we were doing this, and we were talking about straightening limbs or putting what you call a recurve into a limb. And what I've done with this bow here is recurve one limb. I've done that about a week ago. I left this one undone. And what we're going to do today is recurve this limb. So this limb's done right here. This limb has been recurved. And if people want to know, why do you recurve? That adds a little bit of strength, a little bit of snap and cast up close and speed to an arrow. And if you're hunting up close, or if you're hunting in a real brushy area, a recurve is going to be very, very handy in a
Because
close
the
area.
game's going to be less likely to jump the string.
Right, right.
Because the arrow's going to come off the bow quicker.
It'll come off quicker, faster, at short distance. So today we're probably going to recurve this limb to meet this one here.
Okay.
Nothing will be done to this bow after the curve's been put into it, because you got to wait. There's a period of waiting for that limb to settle down and for the moisture to dry out of it before you can get back to it. What I've done with this bow, the whole bow looked just like this. No knock cut in it. The thickness was all the way down to this limb. Okay, a week ago what I done was tillered this limb. I tillered this side, took the sides down to the mark where I laid it out, and I cut my knock in it. And I've got it in a stage right now of what I call ground tillering stage. What I mean by that is that I've stopped at the point to where I want it to be right before I feel like it's strong as I want it to be. I don't know if that makes any sense. What you do is you stop almost at the point you feel like where it's bending to where, if I wanted to make like a 50-pound bow, say you stopped within 5 pounds. In other words, if you want to use figures at 55 pounds, that's just a figure. Make it a little bit stiffer than what you need it to be, because in a process, what you're going to be doing, if you get it in the final tillering, you're going to be taking a little bit more off. And so, what I mean by tillering is that you eliminate the thickness and taper it down to the tip of that knock and the width of it. And if you can see that right here, it's thicker up here in the handle, and as it goes on down, it gets thinner and thinner. So what it's doing is we're reducing the strength of the limb to this point, right in here, because this is the area that should be really bending. It's going to bend to a point up to this area up here, but this area in here is going to be taking all of the pressure on the back and compression on the belly. So you have to be really, really careful in how you remove wood in this area. But we'll get into that here pretty quick like. But right now we're going to fire up the burner and do a recurve on this limb. That there is a rawhide string, and of course it's pretty stiff. It's been waxed pretty heavily, but if you can notice the twist in it, you can actually see the twist in it. But when I cut the rawhide, there was 2 strands of rawhide in there, about 1/4 of an inch wide, and you want to cut the strip up and down. If you cut it up and down is the longest length anyway of the deer, from head to tail. So that portion there is what you need to cut out to make a string out of. But you can also cut it in a spiral shape to get more out of it, see. But in doing that,
Like paring an apple.
right.
Okay.
And rawhide strings are made, or not rawhide, but squirrel strings are made the same way.
Right.
I've never made I've never made a squirrel bowstring, but I'm going to. The squirrel string, a squirrel rawhide is real tough, real tough. But that's a rawhide string.
So now, will you just take another piece just like this and knot it in the center, and then that's how you end up with your string?
Really, that spiral cut will give you enough length. See?
Well, this will stretch.
No, that string there
That's
is
it.
ready. It's
Okay.
just,
But what I'm saying is that's only half a bowstring, right?
no, that's for a little bitty bow.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I didn't know
For
if
a
you
real
could take
short bow.
2 pieces and attach them in the middle with a knot and then affect it that way.
Ideally, that's probably for maybe an almost 4 foot long bow.
Okay.
Real short bow.
Right.
But if you was making it for, say, a 68 inch like that bow is over there, I would cut it out in a spiral shape where you get more length out of it. So you start out right in the center of the deer hide. In fact, I got one down there out of the barn that I could show you right now, but I walk down there and look at it. But you get more length out of it cutting it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did your Plains tribes that made the shorter bows for use on horseback, would they have typically used buffalo hide to make those strings?
Buffalo hide is extremely thick.
Really? You couldn't find a
most-
thin enough place on a hide to get one, you don't think?
It's possible, but most of your Plains tribes made sinew strings
From gut?
from
Or
bone.
sinew? Oh, sinew. Okay.
Right. And what happens, you wound up with different lengths of sinew. This long, I've got some I should have bought, put them on the table. But what they do is taking it, after they get it wet down, they start peeling that off in strands. And then what they do is they roll it in one direction. And I made a sinew string about that long one time to see if I could do it. Our people never made bowstrings out of sinew. They're just rawhide. To my knowledge, we never made them out of sinew. Your Plains tribes did. They're real strong. Sinew strings are real strong, but they're just like rawhide. You have to, they're spliced together and they're overlaid to make that length, see. And whenever you make one, you roll it one direction, then you have maybe, depending on how strong the bow is, you may use several strands to make it a certain thickness and roll it on your leg, and you'll have the other side by side and roll it in the same direction, put them together, then roll it back the opposite direction. Because if you roll them in the same direction, they're going to come undone. And we're going to get into string making here after we get that bow down to where it ought to be, and we'll move on to string making shortly.
Awesome.
So let's fire this up. What I'm going to do is we're getting pretty close to that water is going to be boiling. I'll lay this portion down next to the water that's boiling. I don't lay the back side down on it because that's where your growth rings are pretty solid, not growth rings, but that got that one layer on the back side, and the belly side is where your drain is going to be opened up. And it's going to take the heat and the moisture quicker because it's opened up on the belly side. So this area, or this belly side, is what I lay down facing the steam. The whole surface will get heated up with the steam, but this area here will take the moisture or the heat and steam quicker. And that's the area I'm going to lay down. I'm going to cover it with a piece of tin foil, and we'll wait till it gets to that point. I made a mark right here. It's the area I want to recurve. I made one on this end of it here, and I mark both ends to make sure I know where I'm at, where I won't get the curve going back too far into the limb. So you got this mark here. This has already been recurved, heated, steamed, and recurved. So that's what it looks like right there.
All right, Jason, another fabulous show called the Native News Today is reaching its end here, and we, as always, thank the audience for joining us this afternoon.
Sure. I mean, you could have been doing anything else right now, but you're here with us. Why? Because we're Native News Today. You know?
Your novel and your channel may have fallen off from the TV.
Where else are you going to get Indian news right into your living room?
That's right.
Other than maybe if you watch like some of those other Indian shows that are on.
Well,
they don't measure up. I don't want to like. I
Well,
don't want to say we're above or anything.
we
but I do.
humbly do say that we are the only Native American.
There's no humbleness here, Jerome.
We
We
are
pound
the
our
only.
chest, hold our heads high, and say we dominate the rest of you. And that's okay.
We are the only Native American program at this time.
That's right.
And we're glad to say that. And hey, we're here working every week, every day for you to bring
That's
you
right.
those great news stories.
Absolutely. And it's just a coincidence that when Gerald said we're here working every day that I chuckled. I had remembered something earlier from the day that made me laugh. It's sheer coincidence that I laughed there when he's talking about working.
And Jason never laughs. He's also,
No, I'm always,
I mean, don't let this happy-go-lucky demeanor fool you, man.
yes.
No,
I'm
let it fool you, man.
Yeah, let it fool you.
He's easy going.
I'm nuts, man. I'm nuts. It's been great being here this week and had some great stories. Talked a little business, talked a little bit of bow making, talked a little bit of emergency. So had a little bit of everything. So hopefully there's no more floods, but it's always nice to be able to tell a story when there is one.
Hey, we always get concerned when the creeks rise.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. I like
Well,
what you did there.
Well, you know,
Yeah, yes.
the water.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, hey, for our producer, Jared Moore, Josh Lane, Jason Salzman, Gerald Wofford, as always, we thank you for joining us. And in the meantime, take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.
Every time.